What should Paramount try to be doing in terms of its fundamentals right now?
Well, I have experienced this before because I was the media advisor to the show Succession. And I have to tell you, so Mayhem was our middle name, but if they had come to me with a plot twist that said they were going to dump the CEO 2 hours before earnings, I would have thrown it right back in their faces. I would have said, no way. Anyway, look, every acquirer feels they can either grow an asset or squeeze additional profit out of the distressed parts or just sell off the parts. I wouldn't be surprised if David Ellison feels that he lands in the growth camp. He's young, he's energetic, he has excellent taste. I love some of the movies that he's produced. And he's got Jeff Shell as a partner, and Jeff is a really savvy operator, as he was when he was CEO of NBC Universal. I think that the challenge for any traditional media company in a landscape that is dominated by the tech giants, right? Apple, Amazon, Google, YouTube alone accounts for 10% of the TV viewing now on televisions, not on devices. The tech giants are dominating the media landscape, and so whoever ends up owning Paramount has to think hard about that. They have to think about streaming as a strategy. Because what streaming does is
Jon, let me just jump in real quick, Jon, because I get that they're technology companies. They're good at technology. Yeah. Caroline and I were discussing before the show. I quite like Paramount. I like the streaming platform. I watch all my Champions League football on Paramount Plus. I liked Halo. It was pretty good. I like some of the Paramount movies, Top Gun as an example, the Transformers movies. Who doesn't? What's missing then? What's the fix?
I'll tell you what's missing, AI. AI is what's driving streaming because it powers all those deep audience insights that allow you to make smarter programming decisions, more precision targeted marketing decisions. My streaming platform has seen our cost of acquiring a customer drop from $34 to $2 in 1 year's time, thanks to precision targeting AI. And David Ellison knows somebody who is pretty good at the AI piece of it, and that's his dad. And his dad is one of the investors. Oracle is going to be, among the investors in this. And if you add Oracle AI power to some of the assets that Paramount owns, you inch closer anyway toward the tech giants. You're not a giant yet. Their market cap, I think, is 350 times smaller than the big boys, but you're heading in the right direction. And that would be a smart thing for them to do.
So for you, this is a tech growth perspective coming from Skydance Media. A lot of investors, though, have completely seen an erosion in the value of their non-voting stock. They're frustrated that this isn't going to be some more open bidding competition going on. Jon, is there a better, more clear way of doing this to try and hear clarity from Skydance and then see what others say the reports of an Apollo and a Sony could add themselves?
Yeah, I mean, Skydance needs to play its cards close to the vest in the short run. And of course, if they end up winning the prize versus Apollo/Sony, then they've got to lay out a strategy, and that's what the street is going to be looking for. And AI can't be ignored, and should obviously be a central part of things. But look, family-controlled or single entity-controlled companies invariably lead to this kind of messiness. And if whoever ends up with it, at least you would hope that the operation will run more cleanly moving forward.
Jon, of all the subscriptions you can have, where does Paramount rank?
Look, I'm not alone in saying I churn constantly. Did you know that only 7% of people will tell you that they plan to stick with the streaming platform that they currently subscribe to this month? 93% of viewers intend to leave, and that's because people watch shows and stars. They don't watch platforms. That's equally applicable to Netflix and Disney Plus and all of them. And so, you've got to think in terms of franchises that are driving the bus for a business. So, for Paramount, the first one that jumps into my mind is the NFL. I mean, the NFL dominates viewership on whatever platform it airs on, whether it's streaming on Amazon Prime or it's the traditional broadcast networks. News streaming services are also drivers of streaming, and CBS just rebranded their entire CBS News streaming entity into CBS News 24/7. And so they've got to be thinking streaming first, direct to consumer first, AI first.
Right, and the masters forward as well, a good example. If you're going to cut one chunk off or divest a bit, what would it be?
The cable channels just, they're kind of hopeless. I mean, they've lost their luster. I think, they tend to just play the same show 50,000 times in a row in a block, which I like as a consumer. I can put The Office on other channels, and all that. But it's a dwindling asset. Everyone knows it. It's not a surprise. I think they had some offers for some of the cable channels in the past year. Part of the friction between Redstone and Bakish was that he didn't sell some of them fast enough or at all. But that's where you'd have to look.
Jon, I'm just going to go bigger here because it's so interesting what you bring about the technology story that needs to be injected into Paramount. And of course, you were at Linux AI, which was sold to Apple. You've got a big focus on the AI compartment. But do you think, more broadly, this is going to be happening elsewhere in the industry? Paramount is but one where we think M&A or rejuvenation is needed within some of these legacy businesses.
Oh, yeah. I mean, look, the market cap gap is just enormous. I mean, the tech giants are 350 times bigger than even the biggest, most well-known traditional media companies, Warner Brothers Discovery, Netflix even, I think we have to start thinking of as a traditional media company, because the only thing they do is entertainment programming, and now they're introducing sports, but they have no tech component, they have no theme parks, to mitigate risk or anything. So they're a pure play media company. I think there's bound to be consolidation amidst those. And if Paramount is smart about pursuing the AI and streaming opportunities, they become a more attractive merger or acquisition target as those smaller players, the smaller planets, come together.